Are you stuck in ho-hum? Is your life kind of blah? Does it lack pizzazz? Are there things that you really want in your life, but you're too busy or too tired to even think about it? Well, I recently went to a high school reunion and I saw a bunch of people who had retired and they looked like deer caught in the headlights. Like, whoa, what happened? They, nose to the grindstone, worked all their lives, made enough money so they could retire. Now what? A lot of people die when they retire because they have lost their purpose. They have lost meaning. And did you know that the cells in our body are actually wired to die if they have no purpose? Can you imagine all those billions of cells in your body all saying, oh, when you feel like you don't have any purpose, they all think they don't have any purpose? So take a moment and ask yourself, if you could wave a magic wand, how would you change your life? Would you like more money? Well, we all like more money, right? Gives us more leeway, more access to things. But what do you really want the money for? Or how about better health? Would you like to have more energy and vitality and excitement and no pain? Or what about love? So those are my 3 pillars of happiness. I'm sure there are more, but those are kind of like the main ones: wealth, health, and love. That if you have those in harmony and going together, they're great. Sometimes people get the wealth thing together, but they forget about the health and the love. And they get to the end and suddenly they have money, but they don't have any pizzazz. They're stuck in ho-hum. Let me check my notes. You need to begin with a vision. What is it you want? And then when you get a vision, and I've certainly talked to plenty of my clients and said, well, what do you want? And a lot of them say, well, I would like to travel more. That's why they want more money. They want to travel. Well, why do you want to travel? I mean, really, why do you want to travel? Get on a plane, sit in the plane, cramped quarters, and then you go off to some strange place where they sell strange food and they have different kind of currency and you can't figure out what you're doing and you get lost in the streets and you sleep in beds that are too hard or too soft or too lumpy. Okay, so why do you want to travel? I mean, maybe you do. But maybe it's just an idea that somebody put in your head. So after you have this vision, you need to really fill it out because the universe does not respond to mediocre. Hi there, thanks for joining. So we're talking about motivation and changing your life and bringing into your life what you really want. You have to have a vision. And then you have to ask yourself, well, why do I want that? And that's key. How is that going to make your life better? If you had more health, what would you do with it? If you had more energy, what would you do with more energy? I mean, really, what would you do with your life? And what about love? How would love make your life better? It's really important to understand and be clear about what that would bring to your life because that's what's going to give you the motivation. And motivation is the key. You need to be motivated in order to change your life. Third question, so I said, what do you want? Why do you want it? How do you know when you have it? So it needs to be measurable. You need to be able to identify it when you have it, or you might have it and you won't even realize that you have it. And then you won't be celebrating. You need to be able to celebrate. You need to be able to embrace your success. And finally, and probably the most difficult of all is, what are you going to have to do? What are you going to have to change in order to get what you want? That's the big reason why a lot of us are not going after what we want, is that we don't want to change. We don't want to make the changes that are required to get out of ho-hum, because ho-hum is not a very good motivation. Let's look at some of the changes. So money, you want more wealth. So either you have to cut down on the outflow or increase the inflow. Cut down on the outflow, you mean cut spending? You mean stop spending money on Netflix or stop spending money on chocolate or lattes? But I couldn't live out without those. That's one of the things that you have to ask yourself. How important are those things? Do you really need a cell phone anymore? What do you mean, do I need a cell phone anymore? I live on my cell phone. So that's the outflow. How can you cut down on the way in which you spend your money? Another thing is inaction. That is inertia, not moving forward, doing something. In order to bring more money in, you have to take action. You have to figure out how you can bring more money into the pot. And heaven forbid, it should mean more work. Especially if you're already working 40 or 50 hours a week and you're running all the time and you're exhausted. That's not going to work. Adding more work, adding more hours to your already overloaded schedule is probably not the best solution, because it's definitely going to work against your health objectives. You need a plan. You need to change your ideas about how you can bring wealth into your life. Partly the plan is, what do I need to do? What do I have that I can sell? What do I have that other people want? But part of it is how you think about yourself. Do you feel worthy of money? Do you feel like you have anything to offer? So these are all questions and things that you need to change in order to bring more wealth. Let's look at the health. Okay. You want better health. You want to lose a few pounds. You want more energy. You want to be able to sleep at night. So to lose weight, you may have to look at your menu. You may have to change the way you're eating. What? Change the way I'm eating? Oh my God, I can't do that. I've tried all those diets. There's no way I can change the way I eat. Yeah, you can if you have enough motivation. Exercise. So part of it is changing what you eat, the fuel, what you put in, and then exercise. What I found is that if you change what you eat, you often have more energy, depending on how you change what you eat, so that you can get the exercise. So those two things go together, hand in hand. You want to work them out together. You may need to see a nutritionist. You may need to see or find out what your body needs, because bodies are different. And what works for me may not work for you. I managed to lose 10 pounds this year after struggling with those 10 pounds for 20 years. It was like, wow, I could not get those 20 pounds off. And then I changed my diet overnight and gone really fast. So it's possible, but you have to be motivated. Also, health is about sleep. Are you getting enough sleep? Well, there are actual things you can do in terms of how you eat and exercise that affect your ability to sleep. The kind of things that the activities you're doing. Are you watching too exciting movies before you go to bed at night? And so finally, you have to change your behavior. And we sometimes have resistance to that. Love. So what's your strategy on bringing more love into your life? Well, you might have to get some new clothing. You may have to get a new hairstyle. You may need to get a makeover, or at least new makeup if you're a woman. If you're a man, you may have to lose some pounds back to health again. And what else? Well, you need to examine what your assets are and your liabilities. What do you have to offer? And this kind of goes back to how you think about yourself. If you feel that you're a loser, I guarantee you that everybody else is going to think you're a loser too. You may have to do some reprogramming of this mind in your head while you're also changing your body. You need to work with both of them. You need to have an action plan. So they all need plans. So as a PhD psychosocial analyst, I can tell you from working with clients for over almost 20 years that the body resists change. Yes, it's not just your fault. It isn't just that you're lazy. This body actually resists change. It's wired to be resistant to change because change is uncertain. Change is unknowable. You don't know how things are going to work out. And from the organism's point of view, it could mean death. And that's why this organism is resistant to change. Now, we know that changing our diet is probably not going to result in our death. And getting a new hairdo is probably not going to result in death. But there is that fear. And some of it is that we're afraid of how our community is going to respond to us if we change. Will it be positive or will it be negative? And in order to address that, you need to look at yourself. Do you have the confidence? Do you have the self-assurance? Is that the thing that's undermining you? And what I have found in working with my clients is that at the foundation of getting any of these successes is early childhood patterning and behaviors that we have learned in order to survive. There may be beliefs or there may be modeling that we have absorbed in terms of being able to make money. Either we make a lot of money and then we lose in the health and wealth department because the behavior that has created the wealth is also the same behavior that trashes your health and your love prospects. I've seen that so often. These amazing artists and rock stars and business people, and they die young because they put all their energy into performing, and because the performing is never enough. That might not be your problem. Your problem might be, I do all this work and I don't get the results. There may be another reason underneath, another childhood pattern that you've learned that prevents you from getting success. It could be a people pleaser pattern. That is a pattern in which you give away too much and you don't expect anything in return other than a pat on the shoulder or a few likes on Facebook. That has to change. There has to be some rewiring. And it's not just mindset. This is deeply ingrained programming that came from childhood, and changing it is not going to work with just a little bit of tapping. You need to do some active practices to change that behavior, to bring the things into your life that you want. I'm going to go back and talk about motivation. So I've been mentioning that there are some major things that you need to do if you're going to bring more wealth or health or love into your life. It's not going to happen by just dreaming about it. In fact, I can guarantee you it won't. In fact, what I have found is that most of my clients dream about not having something rather than having. That is, they think about not being overworked. They dream about not feeling grief. They dream about not having insomnia. And the law of attraction states that you get what you think about. That takes us right back to vision. You need to have a really compelling vision. That's one of the motivators. When you have a really compelling vision, when you have a really good sense of what it is you want and why you want it, that becomes the motivator. That it excites you, that it inspires you, that it gets you up out of bed to run around the track, or it gets you out of bed to make the healthy food, or it gets you out of bed to make the phone calls you need to make to get your customers. So what else? There's desire, and the desire comes from the vision. It has to be a compelling desire. So the three keys are vision, desire, and the last one is pain. And I already told you that my people tend to come to me when they're in pain. Because pain, I gotta tell you, it's a powerful motivator. One of the reasons I changed my diet was I had a lot of indigestion and a lot of bloating. Well, that actually wasn't the reason. I changed because I did not want to end up with Alzheimer's. And I read a book on genius foods, which told me that a lot of things that I'd been doing, I thought I had the most fantastic diet in the world. And I read this and I said, oh my God, I'm killing myself. And my father died from Alzheimer's. So you can imagine that that was really motivating. But that's a pain motivation, right? That's a motivation from. However, what came with this diet was weight loss, and it was very motivating. Every time I would see the scale go down, I go, yes! And so, yes, it was loss, but it was exciting. It is not the reason I changed my diet. I actually looked fine, 10 pounds more than what I am. I looked fine. Okay, my clothing was a little tight, and that was part of the motivation, is I didn't want to buy a new wardrobe. Of course, I'm going to have to buy a new wardrobe anyway because now everything's baggy on me. So pain. One of my clients came to me because she was in physical pain, and she didn't know how to change the situation. Her work environment was actually killing her. And she was too attached to the money. I, of course, told her the story about the goose and the golden eggs, that money is the golden eggs. But if you kill the goose, there will be no more golden eggs. She wanted to hold on to the money. And I said, you know, if you lose your health, all the money that you've saved over all this year of drudgery in a job you hate is going to go up in an instant, up in smoke, because our healthcare system will vacuum it up like a voracious vacuum cleaner. You know, in, what is it, Yellow Submarine, the vacuum man, it would all be gone. So that is another pain motivation. But I got to tell you, pain motivates. Your back hurts, you do something about it. Although I have to say that in this culture, we get really, really good at tamping down our awareness of our body. Our body can be screaming, and if we have developed a pattern of ignoring it, it has to get us sick before we change. And it's an uphill battle. I would much prefer to work with clients who came with a vision than come with a pain, because then we can start right away to move forward, to identify what's holding you back and move forward instead of pulling you out of a pit first. I had another client. This is another way in which the universe tells us that we need to change. It's called loss. And by the way, I have run into this a lot because I work with people around life changes a lot. And change happens. And sometimes that change is pretty disturbing, like the losing of a partner. So I had this one client, and she was married to the love of her life. And she thought this was the greatest thing in the world. but he had a heart condition. And she had a vision. He kept on telling her, you know, I think I'm holding you back. She said, oh, no, 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 you're not holding me back. Yep, you got it. She went off to some speaking event, and when she got home, she found her husband had died of a heart attack. And she was devastated, probably 2 years. The universe wanted her to step up, but sometimes we get comfortable. We get comfortable in ho-hum and okay and ordinary. But if your spirit wants you to be taking a bigger stand, if your spirit wants you to be making a bigger difference, it's going to tell you. It may tell you with your body, and it may tell you with losses. And I've seen it. I've seen people who have struggled with their childhood, and they find their hero, and they get into that hero situation, and they love it to death, and they love their husbands, and it's wonderful, and then he dies. And it's horrible. But that's what wakes you up. Unfortunately, I have found, science states that evolution hardly ever happens unless you are being pressured by the environment. Again, I want it to be your own mental environment that's saying, I have a mission, I have a purpose, and I need to move forward, and I'm stuck. And I know I'm stuck because I have these early childhood wounds that are holding me back. And it's time to get them handled because I'm not getting any younger. And how much time do I really have? That's what I'm looking for. If this is you, if you are ready to get out of ho-hum, if you're ready to create a legacy, to have an impact in this world, and you are being held back by fear or lack of confidence or inertia, or you just need some guidance and direction, reach out to me. Have a 15-minute introductory call with me and find out how I can help you to break through that inertia and move forward in your life, to find the true success, the authentic success of your wealth, your health, and your happiness. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this, and be brilliant. Bye for now.